Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, Moose, Hogs, and Red Raider Hoops running on E.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the number one sports podcast network in the world, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks as always for making us your first listen. And today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers can bet only $5. And if your bet wins, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the FanDuel app today. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again. And man, a whole lot to catch up on from the weekend that was as we kick this week off on many different fronts, as we will get to, of course, what was most recently on your plate, and that was some Red Raider hoops in DFW. Not enough, unfortunately, for the good guys as they come up short against the Razorbacks in a Sweet 16 rematch from a year ago. We'll get to that shortly. Also want to catch up on some things developing whenever it comes to the Red Raider football roster reload of sorts, at least. We know we've got a couple of different sort of iterations of this whenever it comes to transfer portal happenings or possibilities. Of course, departures from your program, and then additions of men named Moose, which just sounds like a great idea in general, Chris. But welcome back to God's country, and looking forward to diving into what's probably a full bucket for you, man, as there was quite a bit of action going on, both on the floor or between the lines and beyond for Texas Tech over the weekend.
Yeah, you just kind of tell me where you want to start here, because there's I guess since we last visited with everybody, there's been a lot of chatter, like league wide, with both programs. You've got coming players, going players, rumored players. I mean, but yeah, you're kind of in this phase right now to where movement is starting to take shape, and it's odd timing, right? Because you're getting ready for the damn Orange Bowl. And, basketball wise, it's like you wish there was some movement right now because you're just not healthy enough to be able to get over the hump with get some of these teams that you're playing right now. And you've got one more big opportunity left. So you just tell me where you want to start, man, and we'll start shooting from the hip here.
Yeah, we got to start with the roster because I think that's where most people are attuned as we're getting into a new week. And I think mostly as we're still awaiting official transfer portal window happenings, we're still sort of, as we left off on Friday, talking about intentions and intending this or intending that. But as you touched on Friday, because we had this as a popular question in the mailbag, there is this period where these sort of conversations, or I don't know if you'd call them exit interviews yet. It's such a weird intersection time-wise, but sort of feels that way, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think whatever you want to call it, everybody is now kind of like, and this is the whole argument against this all happening right now, because again, you are an example of it, like being in the middle of it for real, right? But you've got, because Joey will tell you, as the head coach, I have to worry about the here and the now. Okay. But I am one of the few that always have to be worried about down the line, next year, 2 years down the line, all that stuff. I don't ask my position coaches and the current players, and nobody else has to bear that brunt. And he will tell you that James Blanchard and company, their sole job is to worry about the future, not necessarily about the here and the now. Okay. And I think that process is ongoing. Negotiations are ongoing. I mean, you're starting to see that around the country a little bit with, hey, so-and-so close to renegotiating his deal to remain. I saw that with Lenora Sellers and the South Carolina quarterback. It's crazy because it's just reported on like it's the NFL. So at the time that we are sitting here talking, the one announcement we have had is Upton Belenfant, who I do think, and we'll see, I do think he's going to go to the bowl game and finish it out and all those things. But there's also another court case, which could make for an extra year available for Reggie Virgil. Again, kind of factors into all this stuff too, that could grant these players that, a fifth year, basically. I think he would be the primary benefactor of that on Texas Tech's roster. Maybe a Jack Burgess. I don't know if anybody else necessarily qualifies, maybe forgetting somebody, but Reggie Virgil's clearly the one that would, in the immediate, would potentially benefit. That could play out this week as well. Okay, so, but I do think there's probably some back and forth with where do I fit in, and hey, this is how we think you fit in or don't fit in. And again, it's a bit dicey because you've got the biggest of tests coming up on January 1. You would love all your depth. You would love all your special teams pieces. You would love all of you just never know. But that's just not the luxury afforded to you because of the timing of everything. And I think there's going to be some more departures. I think that is very fair. And I think every coach would probably say this. They're just not going to say it aloud. But there's this sense that there's some guys in every program that probably need to leave. Just maybe hadn't caused a problem, but it just hadn't clicked. And, they're kind of on the fringe. And I think Texas Tech's got a handful of those guys. Not that doesn't make them bad kids or bad players necessarily, but it's just not necessarily working here. And we don't know if we see a path where it would work because of injury, because of this particular position group is really deep. Like, and I wonder about, so we'll wonder aloud about some folks here. And it's specifically position groups. And these are fair to wonder about just because of the way that the roster is currently constructed. I go to corner and I say, I wonder what Mo Horn and Macho Stevenson think, because they played quite a bit last year. It wasn't just great, but they come in this year and we really hardly ever saw either one of them. They are now a year older, have one less year of eligibility left. And if you think that Bryce Pollock and Amir Boyd are going to return, you're kind of starting to look around going, can I crack the code here? Am I going to be the third corner? Do I have a chance to compete and beat one of these guys out, or should I just seek employment elsewhere? Okay, so I think that's fair to wonder about. Based on the Reggie Virgil possibility, and I do think they will dabble in adding at least one sure thing at receiver, I think. And would that be Reggie? And then, okay, we're not going to go get somebody else, or would it be Reggie and then we'd still take one? Okay, that's to be determined. I don't know that yet, but Coy Aiken going to return. If you get Quentin Joyner back, Jacoby Williams could see more time in the slot. Micah Hudson's going to factor into this deal. What if you are a TJ West or a Kelby Volson? There's a list of players there that I think have to be going, okay, what's, and because Chase Campbell's going to come in here and play. I'm just going to tell you right now, he's going to come here and play rather soon. He's recovering from an injury right now, but he should be. Yeah, I think he should be able to be in a position by midsummer and all that to be, and he's really good. So you just wonder, and then I don't want to bury the lead here because can we talk about Moose here, because there's a conversation we need to have here. Yeah,
I've been waiting patiently. First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, and football is in full force, and FanDuel's keeping you stocked with action every game day with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered. Quick, easy, and secure every time. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Can we talk about Moose here? Because there's a conversation we need to have here. Yeah.
I've been waiting patiently for this.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know yet if this is now your tight end portal edition. I don't think it is. I think that this is an extension of your recruiting class, and that you will still look to go get a John Carlos Miller. But let me just tell you about Matt Ludwig a little bit here. This is a young man nicknamed Moose. He's from Billings, Montana. I think Texas Tech thought they were in a really good spot with him all along, and he just felt like Michigan fit. And you finished second, okay, a very close second. But this is why you don't go scorched earth. You keep the relationships open. You continue to recruit and say, hey man, because you just don't know whether it's in the immediate, as was the case here, or it's a year or two down the road. And you were full with basically your commitment list back on that BYU weekend, and you had some folks in here that were committed elsewhere to other Big 12 schools, to some SEC and ACC schools, and you probably never intended to try to get them, but this is about laying the groundwork for options down the road. Okay, so obviously the Matt Ludwig situation is that Michigan is a bit of a circus right now on the football side and athletic department wide. We all know the stories with Sharon Moore and the extramarital affair that has went on for 2 years, and now the university has said, we're going to hire a law firm. We want to dig into this thing and find out who knew it, when they knew it, and because this could be really ugly here. And we don't know who Michigan's next head coach is going to be. You've got the previous head coach getting out of jail, and then there's rumors about him texting these certain models out there that this has been reported. I mean, it just sounds like a mess. Matt Ludwig didn't want any part of that. Okay, so that's their problem. But he is an early enrollee, so I think he wanted to pivot rather quickly. I think that I found it humorous because I've seen some Michigan fans, talking about tampering. What are we talking about? Marriage tampering? What are we talking about? What kind of tampering are we talking about here? Because there's no tampering going on here. This is just that he is now on the open market because of the folks at Michigan's inability to keep the train on the tracks there. And but Cowan, 6'4", 235, 240. You go look at the kids' offer list, man. It was anybody and everybody. Oregon, A&M, Texas, LSU, Georgia, Penn State, Michigan. I mean, you just, but he just, and Joey said this on signing day a week ago. It was the week of the Big 12 title game, excuse me. We got everybody we wanted, except we almost got a tight end, but we didn't get the one that we wanted, so they just kind of stood pat. Well, guess what? They got the tight end that they wanted. He's 4-star. He's this and that. He actually vaults your recruiting class. I think West Virginia signed like 48 players or something insane, so they get the benefit of some quantity in the way it's ranked, but when you add Matt Ludwig to the mix, you now vault to the number one recruiting class in the Big 12 because your class was relatively small, but it's very high in quality. And that's where these are now the ponds you're fishing in right now. You're not throwing mashed potatoes at the wall anymore and seeing what sticks. So, but all of this chaos, and it seems to be a common theme. You're aligned. You are relationship building, you're well funded, and you're drama free, and you are benefiting from other people's drama. I mean, this is how you ended up with David Bailey because of what went on at Stanford. Got to make a change, and so your scenario right now, and your ability to take advantage of some roster additions has been because you're able to take advantage of other people's drama. So. This was a big addition here, man. He is legit. And is he the immediate guy? I don't know if I have a feel for that yet, or they still seek John Carlos Miller's replacement out there in the portal. I tend to think probably, But it's a really fun addition, and one that I don't think anybody was expecting because it happened quickly. He got out of his LOI, and he was trying to get all his ducks in a row, trying to get squared away and get to where he's going to go quickly because he's an early enrollee, which is just days and weeks away.
I kind of hope he doesn't have to be in a spot where we need some immediate impact and they're able to go find somebody still out there in the near future. But I was sort of thinking of him in this recent run of tight ends comparison wise. I don't know if there is really a great one. He sort of seems like a sort of a different category, I guess. Maybe he's closer to a Tharp or something, but I don't know. He seems like sort of a unique creature unto himself.
Yeah. He's I think he's kind of a well-rounded tight end. Like I think you look at Tharp as more of a run blocker. You look at, honestly, he may be closest to Jalen Conyers.
I was sort of thinking that, but is he more physical than Conyers?
Well, I think that the product that we saw from Conyers ended up being a lot more physical than we thought. He wasn't just this. I think that his blocking improvement, that's a credit to Josh Cochran. I think Josh Cochran, look at what the knock was on we had various conversations in the summertime about wondering if you could run the ball as well because you weren't going to have the same set of tight ends that you had size-wise, maybe depth-wise, all these things. And you blew it out of the water. And that's a credit to, I think, Josh, and he got Terrence and John Carlos to play. That's what we thought. TC was coming in here as more of this skill pass catching threat that was this fun bell and whistle to have. And the one game that he didn't play or that he was severely limited was against Arizona State, and your run game suffered mightily. So I think that is that's just a credit to how they're coached and how much better they've gotten. But I think that I'd have to ask somebody that was smarter than me about it, but I think that may be a younger version of Jalen Conyers, which is a hell of a compliment because Jalen is he's on injured reserve right now, but he's still on the Miami Dolphins roster technically. So got dinged up in fall camp. So that I'd take that. Because think of him as like an H-back. And when you say that, that's football term for hybrid. That's football term for versatile. Because this is what Conyers was, and kind of tilts toward what TC was, but or what TC is, excuse me. So anyway, but yeah, that's pretty heavy praise.
Well, you've had a nice run of some impactful guys in that spot, sort of in a variety of ways. So excited to see his time whenever it does arrive, and maybe sooner rather than later. But also excited to circle back to more tight end edition conversation. I hope maybe in the near future. So stay tuned on that. Never waste an opportunity to take advantage of a good crisis, and there's one aflame in Ann Arbor, Michigan right now. Don't burn bridges, Chris, and also don't act inappropriately with subordinates. Speaking of that, let's go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, the land of Bobby Petrino. Natural segue. He's not involved in this next story, however. We're hitting the hardwood. You were on the scene, Chris, for a Sweet 16 rematch, Red Raiders and Razorbacks, Grant McCaslin, John Calipari, all the stars on the scene. Hell of a mid-December college basketball game. I'll say that up front. First, today's episode brought to you by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift-giving season is on. And if you're wanting something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before even gifting it. So when they plug it in, boom, the memories are already there. No setup headaches, just instant smiles and enjoyment. Perfect for friends, grandparents, parents, newlyweds, fellow Red Raiders with endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. And packaging comes gift ready. No price tag, no wrapping needed. A huge time-saving win. This will be a Christmas gift that actually gets used, not just forgotten somewhere in a drawer. And right now, for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using our promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, AURA frames.com, promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. And while you're at it, support our show by mentioning Locked On Texas Tech at checkout. Again, auraframes.com, AURA frames.com with our promo code college. Terms and conditions apply. Hell of a mid-December college basketball game. I'll say that up front. Frustrating conclusion, however. Credit to the Razorbacks for some things, and unfortunately pointing the finger right back to us in other ways with missed opportunity. I know the free throw stripe is going to be a popular topic of conversation, but that wasn't the only spot, Chris. But, man, just walking away so frustrated, not able to get over the hump in that one.
Yeah, and can I first applaud your professional segue there?
Thank you
that
so
was
much.
That was solid work, man.
10,000 hours.
Bobby Petrino on the motorcycle, man. It's an image I'll never, ever forget. The black eye and the scarred up face and everything. Yeah, be careful around the workplace, folks. So this is going to end up being a very frustrating non-conference portion of your 2025-26 season, simply because I just would have loved to have known what it would have looked like had you had your dudes. And it's just pretty clear that you need the pieces that you thought you were going to have to be able to compete with some of these teams that are high end. If you're going to have to go at it with what you went at it with against Arkansas, against Duke Saturday night, it's going to be a similar result. I'm afraid it's just too much to ask. And so this is kind of a case of like, what if? And that's not how it works. I mean, that's not, you lost the game, and that's what's on the resume. That it doesn't. There's no asterisk next to it going. But we can talk about that and look at what you could be if you have. But Luke Mamboye's absence was devastating when you look back on it. You only played 6 players. You mentioned the free throw line. JT Toppin and Christian Anderson played all 40 minutes in this game, and this was big time game atmosphere here. This was heavyweight. I mean, all of it. It felt like a Big 12 tournament game. It felt like an NCAA tournament game. Something. I mean, this was high level stuff.
Mostly fun. Mostly.
Mostly, yeah, and you just ran out of gas, man.
This is what we need more of in college basketball's regular season, though. I know you know that.
And Grant said as much after it. He's like, anybody that wants to come play us home and home, let us know, because we had one that we had on the line. They've backed out. He's talking about A&M. He's like, anybody that wants to play us in the Metroplex that's around here, like around this time of year, sign us up. We will do this every year. And so, because I mean, you keep taking it you get kicked out of your arena for this like kind of week period because they've got all these graduation ceremonies and stuff, so you can't play home games. So take it to the fans in the Metroplex and play some SEC folks or whatever you can schedule. But yeah, this was a fun one. And you dropped, I think I saw that you dropped like 6 spots in the net because of the loss. I think Arkansas goes up like 8 spots. So again, it's a quad 1 loss, and it would have been a hell of a win if you'd have gotten it. And now I just worry that you're going to come through this non-conference and you're going to have only beaten Wake Forest and LSU, and that worries me. So the Duke game will be extremely difficult. Duke is probably. I mean, we thought it was Purdue, then Iowa State just goes and just smashes Purdue. And so I don't know what to think, but Duke is probably more talented than any team you've faced. It's going to be a common theme too, because you're just seeing draft pick after draft pick on these rosters. And that's not going to stop when you get to the conference play either. But Darius Acuff was obviously Arkansas's best player. He's thought to be a first round player this next summer, I guess next June, if he forgoes his remainder. And he had 8 assists, 20 plus points, and just kind of heated up, was steady and didn't turn it over. But this is a case, Cowan, of just you were vastly undersized. You mentioned the free throw line. You were 3 of 10 from the free throw line. All 10 attempts are by Christian Anderson and JT Toppin. And It's been a theme with JT. As good as he is, and he's elite, it's been a problem at the free throw line for him. He's below. He came into the game at 48%. That does drop a little bit. That's just not very good. And I think this will be a common theme going forward with him is teams will say, screw it. We can't guard him, foul him. Just put him on the line. Hack a JT. And Christian is usually pretty good there. I just think he got tired. And that's no excuse. I'm just kind of that's what I saw. It's just a lot in those kinds of games. It's a lot to ask somebody to play 40 minutes, man. It is a lot. And they had, and I think there's a conversation to be had about Leon Horner. I thought that would maybe be a button that Grant would push for a few minutes, maybe steal here or there. But it just, you were scoring so well that it's like, who do you take out? But he was very critical of himself. When I talked to him after the game, the last 7 or 8 minutes, he's like, I managed it poorly. Because I just didn't have the right thing going, and we mismanaged it, and we just have got to get better on defense, because you're not going to beat anybody if you're allowing 93 points. But anyway, it's interesting. But you missed all your bigs are hurt.
That's not helpful.
No,
they're about to get you out there if JT comes up with a limp, big handsome in the paint.
I mean, it's unfair. It's just the way, nobody's going to feel sorry for you, but it's just a lot to ask JT. Score it, be the lone presence on the glass. When the ball goes up in the air, he's the only one that really has a chance at it. I thought Lawan Watts was really good at the beginning of the game, but he just kind of blended in. He got in some foul trouble. He just didn't help much, and you needed a third man. You needed a third option. We were saying it on the broadcast, like, who can help take the pressure off of Christian and JT down the stretch to alleviate, who can handle it, who can score, who can get a stop. And you just didn't really have anybody step up. I thought, Atwell and Petty and Brian, they all each had 2 threes in the game. They had some moments, but it's in the last 7 or 8 minutes. It just, and Watts was the same. There just wasn't anything there that you could hang your hat on. And it sucks, man. So we'll see where it goes from here, but they got a quick turnaround because they got a game on Tuesday night. But Bomboye in concussion protocol, Josiah Mosley coming back from a lower body injury that I don't know if he's practiced much. I think that last time we talked, it's kind of like Grant had said, just not real sure what we're going to do there, because if it gets too much further, it's like, and then we're trying to catch him up in the middle of or at the beginning of conference play. Is that enough time to give him a fair shot, or do we blow his year, or do we hold him? I don't know what they'll do. Just depends on the timing there. Mariella Kuntat played a couple of games, and now he's kind of limping around everywhere. You're trying to redshirt Latrell Hoover, who's just very raw. It's just, and this is 6'11", this is 6'11", this is 6'8", and it's basically 7 foot. And JT, I'm telling you, he may be listed at 6'9". He's got really long arms. Like, his wingspan is where he benefits, but he's much closer to in my opinion 6'6" or 6'7" than he is 6'9". But he's what you've got right now, and it's like, how much more can you squeeze out of the guy? And yet you almost still pulled it off.
Yeah, I hated the result, and maybe I'm just soft, but I couldn't really come away dogging our guys all that much, if at all, because I actually thought you had some of your best stretches of the season. You're knocking down some huge shots. You were battling on the boards. I think at the end of the day, you wind up like a 21 or 22 and 6 or 7 assist to turnover ratio as a team. Christian Anderson was good in that department. You emptied your bucket in just about all ways. It's just that your bucket didn't come all that full. And that's still with plenty of credit for Arkansas, because the Brazil kid was crazy in the second half and some other playmakers. But frustrating result, man. I'm still sitting here kind of feeling similar to what I did going into it, though, Chris, thinking, man, there's capability for this team. Can you get it together quick enough to, see it when you want it this season? Can you get healthy enough quick enough to try to get it together? I don't know.
Yeah, because, I mean, you've got Northern Colorado. Then you're going to play Duke. Then you've got a week off. Then you have Winthrop, and then the non-conference is over.
Yeah.
And then you're going to host an Oklahoma State team that is much improved from last year that just lost to Oklahoma. So, and then you turn right around, and I think you play Houston in your second conference game. So, I mean, like you just look at this, in your next 5, you've got Duke and Houston. These are top 5 teams. I mean, so the time is now. And you do have a lot of time. And I think to your point, I felt the same. This wasn't any kind of moral victory, but to Grant's point, he has said we're trying to cook this fancy meal, and it just isn't ready to come out of the oven yet. If we did right now, it's going to taste poorly or be undercooked. And they're trying to turn the temperature up and speed up but you can see it. I think that's what you're saying is you can see there's some things there. And I think he likes some of the pieces. I think some of these pieces are starting to change, but then I thought kind of Watts was kind of like, okay, here we go. And then I don't know if I could come away going, okay, he kind of went backwards a bit in this game, maybe because of foul trouble. I'm not real sure. But Tyree Bryan, I thought, stepped up a little bit. I think Jalen Petty continues to be a bright spot. And Christian, I don't want to gloss over this. The kid is just, it's unbelievable. Smooth, has this ability to just kind of keep his heart rate normal because it's just chaotic and just rarely shows emotion. And the one time he hit a 3, and I think it was Acuff's face yesterday, and he had a little wry smile. I was like, good for you, man. He's like, because he was like, whew, I'm hot. Yes, sir. Yes, you are. But he and JT, they just need a little bit of help here to get to where you want to go. And it's not realistic to ask them to shoulder this thing for 40 minutes a night and do all the scoring, do all the facilitating, do all the rebounding. It's a lot to ask. And Grant doesn't want to hear about the offensive end right now. He just felt like they wilted on the defensive end at the end. In fact, I think he really kind of pointed back to the Arkansas game a year ago to try to prove his point. You're down 16. I think he mentioned Elijah Hawkins in that game was like 0 for 9 from 3. They kept baiting him, and Elijah Hawkins kept getting those 3-point shots. He was 0 for 9 from 3 or from the field, one of the two. And yet he was playing like a maniac on defense, and he forced several difficult shots at the end, and he showed his kids this, and he's like, this is what I'm talking about. He's struggling like crazy on one end of the floor, but it does not affect him on this end, and this is why we won the game. This, not the makes or the misses on the other end, it's this. And I think that they just kind of ran out of gas and just didn't have that intensity and the willingness to, but Arkansas is good too. They're athletic, and you don't have any pressure in transition to stop the avalanche coming at you at the rim. It was a bad matchup, and it was a 7-point game, but
you led for 32 minutes.
Yep.
3. All of our moral victories. I'll sleep comfy with those tonight. But I'm not down. I'm a little down, but I'm not out by any means because I'm sure Coach McCaslin and company will have a good plan when they go to New York City. With all due respect to whatever's coming up this week from the USA, we will circle back to that. And also stand by because I'm going to grab some extra time from Chris later on. We've got to talk about something afoot in the Big 12 Conference with private equity dollars for all, some, none, who, us. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts because I do want to get back to that. But we had to tackle this first, Chris. So appreciate your time to talk roster reload for Joey McGuire and company already underway, of course. And
did we mention Upton Bellenfant? Did we say that? I've already glossed over that. Did we mention that he has announced that he's leaving?
Yeah.
Okay, we did. Okay, yeah, because I wanted to get that in front of that with people because these are kinds of announcements you're going to see more of. And this was Stone Harrington won this job, but this will be the first of a handful too many, and you're just not sure, is that 4? Is that 12? You know, are they going to play in the bowl game? Are they going to travel with you? You know, it's a lot to try to decipher. And in all, people will ask, well, what's the policy? It all depends. Joey has this, he will want guys to be available if all is on the up and up, and they're part of the 2025 team. But if they've caused a problem, because like I think that there's some younger defensive linemen that are looking around going, I don't, you know, like Dylan Spencer is one. Like I would wonder aloud about Dylan Spencer. He's coming off of an injury. And so anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to like get us off track. You were trying to wrap it up, and here I am, you know, but there's just there's a lot coming and going here. So I'm just trying to make sure that we get our people informed. Sorry.
Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Appreciate the everydayers for always riding along. And, of course, thanks to the Matador Mob as well. Hit our show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial. If you're interested in joining that crew, your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. And we will be back talking hoops again very soon, a game day on tap in the LBK. So hang tight for that and a whole lot more coming up this week. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.